Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. How much longer will you keep standing in your own way? How many more days will you waste waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect chance? Let me tell you right now, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is when you decide that enough is enough, when you look in the mirror and say, I refuse to keep living beneath my potential. So today, I'm here to tell you about 4 things you must stop doing immediately if you want to rise to the level of life you were born to live. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday, immediately. Because the future you're praying for will not arrive until you stop holding on to the habits and mindsets that are pulling you down. Stop making excuses. Excuses are one of the most subtle but destructive chains that hold people back from their true potential. They don't come dressed as enemies. They don't come shouting in your ear that you will never make it. No, excuses arrive in whispers. They creep into your mind with soft, convincing words like, you're too tired today, you'll start tomorrow. Or, you don't have the resources right now, maybe one day when the timing is better. Excuses sound like reasons, they feel like logic, but in reality, they are lies. Lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable in the place you are. Even though deep down you know that place is beneath where you should be. Every time you tell yourself why you can't, you're building another brick in the wall between you and your dream. Think about it. You say, I can't chase this goal because I don't have enough money. Another brick. You say, I can't start because I don't know the right people. Another brick. You say, I can't commit because I don't have enough time. Another brick. Before long, you've built a fortress of excuses so tall and so wide that you can no longer see the vision that once burned inside you. You don't even realize that you're the architect of your own prison. The truth is, excuses are easy. Excuses let you off the hook. Excuses protect you from disappointment by giving you permission not to even try. But the same comfort that excuses provide is the very poison that kills progress. Nothing great was ever built on excuses. Nobody remembers the man or woman who had the perfect reason for why they couldn't succeed. The world doesn't celebrate excuses, the world celebrates results. Let me ask you something. If you're always waiting for the perfect condition, when will that day come? Will the universe suddenly align, the calendar clear up, the money fall from the sky, and the people around you finally support you? No, life doesn't work that way. There will always be obstacles. There will always be things you don't have. There will always be storms that show up uninvited. And yet, there are people every single day who succeed despite lacking money, support, or even formal education. Why? Because they refuse to give themselves an excuse. You see, excuses feed fear. When you excuse yourself from taking action, you're secretly telling yourself you're not capable, you're not worthy, or you're not strong enough. Excuses are fear in disguise. They sound rational, but they're actually rooted in doubt. And the longer you feed them, the stronger they become, until eventually, you believe them as truth. You start to think, maybe I really can't do it. Maybe I'm not meant for more. And before you know it, your entire life is shaped by limits that you allowed to exist only because you kept justifying them with excuses. But imagine, just for a moment, if you stripped every excuse away. Imagine if you looked at your life and said, I don't care if I don't have the money yet, I will start with what I have. I don't care if I don't have the right connections, I will work until my results introduce me to the people I need. I don't care if I don't have the time, I will carve it out, even if it means sacrificing comfort. What kind of progress would you make if you simply stopped giving yourself a way out? Excuses are like weights tied around your legs while you're trying to run a race. You wonder why you're not moving forward, why others seem to be overtaking you, but you don't realize you're carrying dead weight. And the thing about excuses is that nobody else can cut them off for you. No mentor, no friend, no coach can step into your mind and remove the excuses you keep nurturing. That responsibility is yours alone. You have to make the choice to let them go. And here's the powerful thing, the moment you stop making excuses, you take back your power. As long as you're blaming circumstances, blaming people, blaming timing, you've given away your control. You've placed your future in the hands of things you cannot change. But when you say, no more excuses, suddenly you own your story. Suddenly you realize that your progress is not determined by what you lack, but by what you do with what you have. That shift in mindset alone can transform your life because it forces you to act. Think back over your life. How many dreams have you delayed because of excuses? How many opportunities have you watched slip through your hands while you told yourself, it's not the right time? How many times have you looked at someone else succeeding in something you wanted, and deep down you knew the only difference between you and them was not talent, not intelligence, not resources, but simply that they refused to let excuses hold them back? Every excuse you've made in the past is gone. It's behind you. But every excuse you continue to make in the present is costing you your future. If you don't change this pattern, you will wake up one day with regret, realizing you never gave yourself permission to try because you were too busy explaining why you couldn't. That's the tragedy of excuses. They don't just delay your success, they slowly erase it. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is one of the most silent thieves of joy and progress, and yet most people allow it to control their lives without even realizing it. It begins early when you look at someone else's path, someone else's success, someone else's lifestyle, and you start to measure your worth by what they have that you don't. Social media has only made this battle worse because now, with a single swipe, you are looking into the highlight reels of people who seem to be living the life you wish you had. But what you fail to see is that comparison never shows you the full picture. It blinds you from the truth and convinces you that you are falling behind. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, you are dismissing your own journey. You are saying to yourself, what I am doing isn't enough, who I am isn't enough, and where I am in life isn't enough. And that is the fastest way to kill your motivation, because no matter how hard you work, you will always find someone who appears to be ahead of you. There will always be someone richer, someone smarter, someone more recognized, someone who seems to have more opportunities. If you base your sense of worth on what other people are doing, you will never feel satisfied because there will always be a new comparison that makes you feel like you're behind. The truth is, everyone has their own lane, their own timing, their own mountain to climb. Life is not a race against anyone else. It is a journey of fulfilling your own unique potential. But comparison tricks you into thinking you're supposed to match somebody else's pace. You look at their results, but you don't see the sacrifices they made to get there. You look at their achievements, but you don't see the nights of doubt, the failures, the rejection, the pain they endured. You see the fruit, but you never see the roots. And then you unfairly measure yourself against something that was never meant to be your standard in the first place. Think about it this way. A sunflower never looks at a rose and feels insecure. A mountain never looks at the ocean and feels inadequate. Each creation has its own purpose, its own beauty, its own strength. The only reason you feel less when you compare yourself is because you've forgotten that your path has value too. You've forgotten that your story is unfolding in its own time and in its own way. You cannot bloom by copying another flower. You bloom by staying rooted where you are and growing with what you have. Comparison doesn't just steal joy, it steals focus. While you're busy watching someone else's progress, you're not giving full attention to your own. You're distracted. You're wasting energy measuring your life when that same energy could be fueling your growth. And the tragedy is, when you finally lift your eyes back to your own path, you realize you've lost valuable time chasing shadows instead of building substance. Let me remind you of something powerful. The people you compare yourself to are often comparing themselves to someone else. That person you envy for their career might be envying another person's family. The one you admire for their wealth might be quietly battling loneliness or regret. The one you wish you could trade places with might secretly wish they had your peace, your resilience, or even your courage to start over. You never see the full picture, and that's why comparison is so dangerous. It convinces you that everyone else has it figured out, but when in reality, everyone is carrying battles you can't see. And here's another truth: comparison creates bitterness. When you spend your days looking at others, it's easy to feel resentment, to think life is unfair, to believe the world has given you less. But resentment blinds you from gratitude. It stops you from appreciating the opportunities you already have, the progress you've already made, the blessings that are already in your hands. And if you cannot be grateful for what you have now, you won't be able to enjoy what comes next, because your eyes will always be on someone else's plate. Instead of comparing, shift your focus to competing with who you were yesterday. Your only rival is your past self. Did you grow today? Did you learn today? Did you improve today? Because that is the only comparison that matters. The one that shows you are moving forward, no matter how slow, no matter how small. Progress is progress. And the moment you stop comparing to others and start measuring against your own growth, you reclaim your joy, your focus, and your power. You have to remember that success is not one size fits all. Some people achieve big breakthroughs early, others later. Some take the straight road, others the winding path. But it doesn't matter how fast or how different, because destiny is not about who gets there first. It's about who stays faithful to their journey. And if you stay consistent, if you keep building without worrying about what others are doing, your time will come. The weight of comparison is heavy, and most of the pressure you feel right now is not even coming from your own goals. It's coming from what you see others doing. You're measuring yourself by standards that were never meant for you. And until you drop that weight, you will never feel free to run your own race with clarity and strength. Stop fearing failure. Failure has been given a reputation it does not deserve. Somewhere along the way, society conditioned us to believe that failure is final, that failure is proof we are not good enough, that failure is a sign we should stop trying. And because of that lie, millions of people never take the first step, never launch the idea, never pursue the dream that has been burning in their hearts. They sit paralyzed, not because they lack talent or passion, but because they are afraid to fall. They are afraid of what people will say if they try and it doesn't work. They are afraid of the embarrassment, the shame, the rejection. But what if I told you that failure is not the enemy? What if I told you that failure is the doorway through which every great success has walked? Think about the people who inspire us most. None of them got to where they are without falling again and again. The world only shows us their highlight reels, but behind every success story is a history of setbacks, rejections, and painful lessons. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not that one group never failed. It's that one group refused to let failure define them. They understood that failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. It is the classroom that teaches you the lessons you can't learn any other way. Failure refines you, it humbles you, it strengthens you. It reveals what you need to change, what you need to improve, and how much you really want the thing you're pursuing. The truth is, if success came easy, you would not value it. If everything worked the first time, you would never develop resilience, patience, or wisdom. Failure is the pressure that shapes the diamond inside you, but most people never discover that, because the moment they fall once, they run back into the comfort zone where it feels safe but stagnant. Fear of failure doesn't just stop you from progressing, it slowly kills your dreams. You start saying to yourself, what if I try and I fail? But the real question you should be asking is, what if I don't try at all? Which pain is worse? The pain of trying and stumbling, or the pain of reaching the end of your life, knowing you never gave yourself a chance? Too many people choose the first type of pain because they think it's easier. But regret is the heaviest burden of all. You can recover from failure, you can bounce back from mistakes, but you cannot recover the time wasted from never trying. Failure is not a signal to stop, it is a signal to adjust. Every setback carries information. Every closed door points you toward a better one. But you'll never discover those hidden lessons if you keep running from failure. Instead of fearing it, embrace it as your greatest teacher. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can this experience sharpen me? When you start viewing failure as feedback instead of defeat, you take away its power to paralyze you. The most dangerous part of fearing failure is that it keeps you small. It makes you play it safe. It convinces you to settle for less than what you're capable of because stepping into something bigger feels risky. But here's the truth: the comfort zone might feel safe, but it is the most dangerous place you can live. Nothing grows there. Nothing changes there. And eventually, the comfort you cling to becomes the very thing that suffocates you. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has a long list of failures behind their name. The best-selling author once had a drawer full of rejection letters. The successful entrepreneur once had a business that collapsed. The inspiring leader once had moments of doubt and defeat. But the reason we know their names is not because they never failed. It's because they did not stop when they failed. They allowed those experiences to build them, not break them. You must ask yourself, what story are you writing with your life? Is it a story of someone who let fear of failure keep them from living fully? Or is it the story of someone who dared to step into the unknown, stumbled, fell, but got back up stronger every time? Because whether you realize it or not, the world is watching, and more importantly, your future is waiting. Failure is not something to be ashamed of. The only shame is never trying. When you fall, you prove you had the courage to step out in the first place. That alone sets you apart from the countless others who are too afraid to take even the first step. You may not see it now, but every failure is a seed being planted. And if you don't quit, those seeds will one day bloom into the very success you've been dreaming of. Stop waiting for the perfect time. One of the greatest illusions that keeps people trapped in mediocrity is the belief that one day the perfect moment will arrive. They sit and wait for everything to align, for every problem to be solved, for every resource to be in place, and for every doubt to disappear before they take action. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more money. I'll move forward when I have more time. I'll go for it when the right opportunity comes along. But here's the harsh truth. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you will wait your entire life, because that moment you are imagining will never exist. There will always be something missing. There will always be obstacles in the way. There will always be fear whispering that you are not ready yet. Think about it. How many dreams have died because people kept waiting for tomorrow? Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before long, a decade has gone by, and the dream that once burned bright inside of them has become a faint memory. The perfect time is a myth. It is nothing more than a disguise for procrastination, and procrastination is a thief. It steals opportunities, it steals potential, it steals years you can never get back. The truth is, life will never hand you ideal conditions. There will never be a day when you wake up and suddenly have unlimited money, unlimited energy, unlimited knowledge, and unlimited support. The people you admire, the ones who have built extraordinary lives, they did not start because everything was lined up for them. They started in the middle of chaos. They started with fear in their hearts, with doubt in their minds, with limited resources in their hands. They started when it was messy, inconvenient, and uncertain. And because they started, they grew. Because they took action, they created momentum. And because they moved forward, they eventually reached the place they once thought was impossible. Waiting for the perfect time is often an excuse that fear disguises as wisdom. It feels smart to wait. It feels logical to prepare. But there is a difference between preparation and postponement. Preparation says, I am equipping myself while I move forward. Postponement says, I am convincing myself that I need more before I even begin. One will build your future, the other will bury it. You cannot confuse delay with discipline. Discipline takes action even when conditions are not ideal. Delay convinces you that action can always wait until tomorrow. And here is the irony. The act of starting is what creates the very conditions you think you need. You say you're waiting until you have more confidence, but confidence doesn't appear out of thin air. Confidence is built through action. You say you're waiting until you have more clarity, but clarity doesn't show up while you sit still. Clarity comes when you move, when you try, when you learn. You say you're waiting for the right people to notice you, but the right people will never notice you until you put yourself in motion. The doors you're hoping will open only respond to movement. If you stand still, they remain shut. If you move forward, even clumsily, you will find new doors appear that you could not see from where you were. We often forget that time itself is not guaranteed. You may think you have years ahead to finally take that step, but the truth is, all you really have is today. And if you waste today waiting for perfect conditions, you risk never seeing that dream come alive. Think about how many people leave this world with their music still inside them, with their books unwritten, their businesses unbuilt, their ideas untested, simply because they were waiting. They had potential, but they never gave it permission to breathe. You have to make peace with the fact that starting will never feel comfortable. It will always feel scary. It will always feel uncertain. You may not have everything figured out, but you do have enough to take the first step. And once you take that step, the next one reveals itself. Progress is not about leaping the entire mountain in one jump. It is about climbing one rock at a time, even if your hands are shaking and your legs are tired. The climb may be imperfect, but it is the only way to reach the top. Stop waiting for the stars to align, because they will not. Stop waiting until you feel fearless, because fear never fully disappears. Stop waiting until you have more, because what you have today is already enough to begin. Your dream is not waiting for perfection, it is waiting for movement. And the longer you delay, the further away it drifts. So here we are, standing face to face with the truth. You've heard what's been holding you back. Excuses have chained you down long enough. Comparison has robbed you of your joy for far too many years. Fear of failure has kept you caged when you were built to soar. And waiting for the perfect time has stolen opportunities that will never return. But today you have a choice. You can walk out of here and go back to the same patterns, the same habits, the same excuses that kept you small. Or you can decide that from this moment forward, you will no longer be your own enemy. Because hear me well, your future will not be built on excuses. Your destiny will not be fulfilled in someone else's shadow. Your greatness will not be unlocked by playing it safe. And your dream will not wait for you to feel ready. Your life will only change when you decide to stop doing the things that keep you stuck. The question is not whether you are capable, you are. The question is not whether you are worthy, you are. The question is whether you will rise up today and declare that enough is enough. No more excuses. No more comparison. No more fear of failure. No more waiting for the perfect time. Today is the day. This moment is the moment. The choice is yours. And if you make that choice, if you dare to take that step, if you decide that your life is worth the fight, then nothing, no obstacle, no setback, no voice of doubt can stop you from becoming everything you were created to be. So stand tall, take your place, and start moving forward. Your time is not tomorrow. Your time is not someday. Your time is now.